Not all personality tests involve answering statements with strongly disagree or strongly agree. Some personality tests don't even use words to reveal what you're thinking. In this video, I'm going to be talking about two of the most well-known projective tests, the Rorschach test and the TAT, also known as the Thematic Apperception test. These are more abstract tests that are still used today to dig deeper into our own personalities and reveal some of our more serious conditions. So, first of all, what are projective tests? Projective tests are personality tests that aim to look at what is happening beyond the conscious mind. Tests that ask us to evaluate ourselves require a lot of conscious thought, and these thoughts may be biased by how we want to perceive ourselves, or maybe what we might be ashamed to admit. The answers to projective tests often seem silly or unrelated, but only because it's revealing a deeper, unconscious thought process that you're probably not aware of. Now, if you complete a projective test yourself, you might not be able to directly pin the results to our personality or symptoms of a mental disorder. That is a therapist's job. And while projective tests may face criticism, they are still widely used by psychologists and experts, even in the criminal justice field. So let's take a look at how the two most well-known projective tests are, and how they work, and what they can reveal about your personality. Let's start with the Rorschach test. What do you see in this Inkblot? The Rorschach test has been around since the 1920s. It's named after its creator, a Swiss psychiatrist named Hermann Rorschach. He originally created the test to diagnose people with schizophrenia. Now, the test didn't really gain the widespread popularity it has now until around the 1960s, when the movement towards uncovering the unconscious started to take off. At first, these Inkblots were completely random. The therapist had 10 cards and showed each one of them to the patient, and then asked the patient for what they thought about the card. What did the patient see? How long did it take the patient to share their interpretation of the card? If the patient saw a dog or an explosion or a friend in these Inkblots, the therapist would then have to decipher what those interpretations meant. The specific Inkblots that professionals use today were created with more intentions than just Rorschach's original 10. In 1961, a psychologist named Wayne H. Holtzman and his colleagues created a second set of Inkblot tests. These contained 45 cards, and they offer therapists 22 elements to consider whenever they're scoring the test. These elements include the time it took to respond, the amount of sexual content in the patient's answer, and any amount of bizarre thinking behind the response. Patients who do not have a license to administer the Rorschach test may have a hard time deciphering their answers, but a local professional may be able to help you through an Inkblot test and tell you what your answers say about your personality, and maybe what you're hiding under your unconscious. The second type of projective test is called a Thematic Apperception test. The Thematic Apperception test, also known as a TAT test, is a second type of projective test that is still being used today. This test is almost as old as a Rorschach test. It was developed in 1930 by psychologist Henry A. Murray and psychoanalyst Christiana D. Morgan at the Harvard University. This test was actually developed as one of these psychologists was actually studying the book Moby Dick, and in the novel, two characters look at the image of a doubloon and see two different things. The author then uses their interpretations to reveal information about each character. The Thematic Apperception test works in a similar way. Therapists pick a selection of black and white cards with ambiguous scenes on them. Then they show one card to the patient and ask them to create a story around that card. Patients then must talk about the backstory, talk about the feelings of each character in the story, and then come up with a resolution. And all of this can reveal quite a bit about what the patient or the person is thinking. After this test was originally created, professionals used the TAT to help veterans and other patients recover from traumatic events. And even a few decades later, business leaders and personal development experts started to use this test to evaluate a person's career aptitude and their potential skills in the workplace based on their mindset. Unlike the Myers-Briggs assessment or other types of personality quizzes, projective tests can be hard to complete online. It would be hard to type in an entire story online and automatically get back an accurate response about your personality or your potential mental disorders. As we make advances in AI, this might get easier, but there's no algorithm yet that connects every potential response to an interpretation. Rorschach tests may elicit common responses, but TAT tests have an infinite amount of answers. When Murray originally created the TAT, he would use a scoring system that would look at very specific sentences in the patient's story. He had a list of 48 elements that he would identify and score based on its role in the story. Since he created the original scoring method, 7 other scoring methods have also been created for the same test. What I'm trying to say is there's no magic deck of Rorschach or TAT tests that you and your friends can use to assess each other's personalities, at least not that accurately. If you're interested in taking projective tests, you should probably reach out to a therapist in your area for an appointment. This is the best way to guarantee that you get accurate results from a certified professional who can actually explain why your answers reveal certain elements of your personality. Now, there are actually other types of projective tests. The Rorschach and the TAT test are only two types of projective tests that therapists and other professionals can use to help assess personality. personalities. Other examples of projective tests include the house tree person test, free association and word association, dream analysis, and also filling in incomplete sentences. The process of taking projective tests can actually be more fun and exciting than taking a standard personality quiz where you can only agree and disagree with other statements. Projective tests can definitely open up doors that you might have been unaware of before. As I end this video, I want to let you know if you enjoyed this video, feel free to go ahead and watch some of the other videos in this full personality series. I put a lot of work into it, and there's like 21 total videos, I think. And also, if you want to learn more about your own personality, you can actually check out my free 3-in-1 personality quiz in the description below. What it does is it combines 3 of the major personality quizzes into one quiz that you can take in under 10 minutes. And at the end of it, I'm going to try to predict some things about you, like your political stances, your relationship style, and even your health. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.